Welcome everyone. We'll wait for a couple of minutes more. We see more people are joining in. In next 2 minutes, we will crack on. Thank you. A warm welcome to everyone. Welcome to the new segment Evosis Live. This is exclusively for our managed service customers, where we are going to emphasize and share our advisory webinar on the quarterly update, which is 20C. Application Enhancement Services is our revamped name of Application Managed Services of Evosis. And the aim of our services is to provide and help you realize the true potential of Oracle Cloud Transformation. This is inspired from our organization theme of value-based delivery to provide more value to you on each and every activity which we do and transact with you. This is first of the webinar of this series, and there are series lined up going after this one, which I'll be covering at the end of it. This is Vikas Surani. I am a senior global pre-sales for Evosis. I'm passionate about the digital transformation, and these are the area which I would be taking you through as a host. Today, we have a speaker, Vishnu Priya, who is a principal consultant, and many of you would be interacting day in, day out with regards to the HCM part. It's more about providing you and having you a value realization component, which will help you to get better value from your investment of Oracle Cloud. As far as agenda is concerned, we are keeping it pretty simple. We want to make this content to share what is our approach and how do we see Oracle update as, followed by what is our analysis for the 20C, and we'll be sharing certain items which we feel will help you to plan your updates. At the closing note, we'll be sharing what are the next generation cloud managed services activities which we have planned upon, and there are certain items which we'll be sharing going forward on this. At any point of time, if you have any questions, you can see on the right hand side there is a question box where you can type in your question, and we have a team who is supporting Vishnu Priya who will be answering during the session. If there are any questions which are getting unanswered, will be shared either over the email or will be connected via the team who is working currently with you for the managed service support. When you talk about the update, there are four categories or four phases of the update. The first one is about analyzing and seeing what are the features which are there into the new release. The second one is more about planning and deciding between the IT team and the business team that what are the features we would to go for and what is going to be the impact of it. Once you decide that part, you want to make sure that have been tested well enough so that you don't see any issue when it is moved to the production part. And the final one is about launching to the production and start making use of that one. For this particular session, we are going to focus more into the first area, which is analyzing and advising what is the thing which we feel should be part of your next update. Depending upon the services which you take from Evosis, you might be taking the rest of the three components. And in case if you are not correctly doing right now, you may want to avail that services. So that's on you as an opt-in service or the feature which are required from your side. This is to give you a glimpse of it, that how we have created a structure of this session. So in the subsequent slide, you will see at the header the new features which you have put forward. So this will be the new feature which is coming in 20C. There would be certain detailing of it, so short description about the new feature so that you get a brief understanding about what that feature is all about. Then what is the benefit, or how does it look, or what is that takeaway for your side? So that is something which you have kept over here. And these are the four components where we have done the in-depth analysis of the features which we are going to present to you. Impact level is something which is having an impact to the end user about the usage of the system. So if it is a low, it is a no large scale impact, and you may just want to have a normal testing rather than going for a regression testing. So these are the values where you can decide upon and know that what is going to be the impact. As you all would be aware of, there are certain features which are getting auto-enabled by Oracle, and there are certain opt-in features. So with this particular item, you would know that this feature is required to be opt-in or it is default from Oracle. Depending upon the feature, there would be certain configuration which would be required to understand the effort and the time which is required. So that is something which we are highlighting. And we feel this is very important for you. We have given name as a quick win. So it has the quick win feature, which says that we advise to go for it, but it doesn't mean that you should not go for the rest of the features. Depending upon the business, what you are in, and the area of what you are working in, there could be also the rest of the features which you may want to opt in, which Vishnupriya will also sharing her thought with regards to that. Before I move to the next part of it and hand over to Vishnupriya, I would like to put forward a simple question to you. We understand that Oracle is coming with the quarterly update. As an organization, how do you feel? What is the perceived value of Oracle quarterly updates? This is a poll question which it should be in front of you. So what I would request is if you can just respond to that particular question. Do you see this question as a overhead to your daily work, or is it something which has been seen as a positive sign, as a value addition? Now, depending upon to the area which you belong, either from the IT side or from the business side, or let's say from the different level of your organization, you may just want to put yours as well as the organization viewpoint. So we just wanted to understand what is the perceived value, and then probably we'll be throwing some light in this session as well as into the subsequent sessions about what is that we can help you to provide and leverage that particular aspect. Appreciate. I can see more than 40% people have voted. So appreciate if you can spend a moment to fill the response so that we get a better data and better output. I see 70% of what has been done. So I will close the poll and thank you for it. I would like to quickly show you the results so that as a group we know how we are feeling currently. So we see around 70% of the group present today sees as a value addition, and we truly feel this is something which we can help you to leverage on. And there are people who are feeling this as an overhead. I'm sure there are some activities which are required to be done, but we can always compensate with regards to what benefit it brings on the table and help you to understand that how this percentage can be moved as a value addition. Thank you for sharing this information. This really helps us to understand that how we can enhance our proposition. I will close the poll right now. With this, I will hand over to Vishnupriya. Vishnupriya will help you to take through with regards to the new features and our analysis of it. Over to you, Vishnupriya.
Thank you, Vikas. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you've logged in from. Today I would be leading the session in terms of explaining you what are the features and what is the impact of this feature for your business. So to basically do this, before we actually get into the features, just a bit of numbers here. So for global HR, we see that there are 32 new features that's released, out of which you have around 24 which are by default available, for which you don't have to do any kind of setup. And then you have the rest 8 as opt-in features. But the focus of our session today is going to be more on the 21 features that you see in orange, which we call them as quick wins. So though you see that there are certain opt-in features also marked as quick win, it means that the effort of opting it in or testing is very minimal when we compare it for the benefit that we would realize out of this feature. The rest of the features are something that's already available in the slide deck, which we may not be able to discuss in detail here because of the time constraint. So in case if you have more questions on those features, we are happy to help you after the session. So we would first look into the quick wins, which are by default. So this is again categorized into two items where they are default features, but I might have to do minor configurations. So that's the second part. But we will look at the ones which says they are default and I also don't have to do any configuration, which means it's 100% quick win for me. So as Vikas just pointed, the impact levels and whether they should be enabled or configured and whether it's a quick win or not is something that you can see on the right. And so this section you will see no need to enable, no need to configure, and it's a quick win. So quickly jumping on to the first feature. So this is a feature that gives the HR specialist a control on the contact information. So let's say, for example, you created a contact for a person and you by mistakenly have added an incorrect start date. Now this start date actually becomes very important when you're dealing certain kind of employee benefits. So until now we weren't able to change this contact start date. So now that's something that you can do. So this actually ensures that you have the right information in your system, so all the other processing happens correctly. The next one is an enhanced data copy options. So legal employer change is something that is was already there. So you had the global transfer flows, local and global transfer. But what is enhanced here is that you can see there are new options that you can choose in order to maintain that historical information when you're actually transferring one employee from one legal entity to the other. So basically it would mean that from a business perspective, you don't have to manually enter those details again or probably move into different screens to see the complete employment picture of the employee. So if you see there are a lot of contact informations or benefits or absences, salaries, payroll information. So all of this is something that you can select and transfer. So whatever was the source information that would be retained and that would be shown under the new legal employer. That's the destination legal employer. With regards to the same concept of local and global transfers, what is enhanced right now in this feature is that you can retain any future termination information that you've already entered. So let's say, for example, you have already terminated an employee in the future, but then as a reorg, you are now you want to move this employee from one LE to the other. So in the current scenario, before 20C, what you have to do is you have to reverse terminate that person, then do a global transfer, and then again enter the future termination. So all of this hassle is avoided. You can just directly go ahead and do the global transfer. This would be the new work relationship, which is from the destination legal employer, will have the termination details moved as well. So this basically protects whatever data you've already entered, and you don't have to worry about re-entering them. So that's why it's a quick win. Yeah, so this one is more of a ease of use feature because we've noticed that when you have multiple assignments for a person, if you want to actually see what are the different assignment status of each and every assignment, you would have to navigate to multiple pages and sees. But now under the business title section, you not only see the business title, but you can also see the status of the assignment. So if it's an active assignment, it's not going to be shown. You won't see any status here, but if it's an inactive assignment or a suspended assignment with the business title, you also see those status. So this is more of an ease of use. Okay, moving on to the next one. This is something called as a mass legal employer change, which we would talk in detail when I take you to that particular feature. But with the mass legal employer change, you also have the same data copy options that we just discussed few slides before. So even it's not that you have the copy options of source information only when you do a single global transfer, but if you also want to do a bulk global transfer, you can still do data copy options. So this is also a quick win. Yeah. So this is, I think, one of the wonderful features that we are going to get in 20C, because this is something that would 100% reduce a kind of back and forth approach. So whenever an employee has got multiple assignments, so here when I say multiple, it only means 2 assignments, not more than 2. So when they have 2 assignments and you want to end date the primary assignment, it could be a temporary end or a permanent end of that assignment. Until now, what you have to do is you have to go first, make the secondary assignment as primary, and then come and end the original primary assignment. Now you don't have to do all that. You can still perform end assignment or end temporary assignments, and the system would automatically make the secondary assignment as active. So why I said you should only have 2 assignments is obviously because if it is more than 2, the system would not know which of the other assignments it should go and make primary. So that's the reason why the restriction is there only for 2 assignments. So if you have more than 2, you still have to have that manual approach of making one of them primary. But if that's not, then you can just go use this feature. The next one is electronic signature. So this is more of a control at the checklist. So when you have an onboarding or offboarding checklists, and let's say you have some confidentiality document which you expect the person to actually read and understand and then say complete in the system. Obviously, we can't monitor whether they are really reading it or not. But from a system perspective, what we can get as a control is that this complete option that you see here would not be enabled until the person actually clicks on view document. So which means he would click on this view document, see that see the document, and then only this complete action would be enabled. So this is more of a process check control that we can bring into the system in order to ensure that people are doing the activities in the right order. In continuation to the same thing, let's say you don't have any signatures to do, but you want the person to actually look at the document, view the task, and only then go and say, yes, he has completed that. So this could be like, you have an internal HR policy document, which you expect the person to read it before he actually says, yes, I have completed my, onboarding activity. So you will be able to click on the complete action only when you click on go to task. So click on go to task, view the task first, and then only click on complete. So this enhancement is also applicable to any external URLs or DocuSign interfaces, I9, so all these places. Okay. Yes, this is another wonderful feature where the UI for document of record approval is increased. So what happens is usually when somebody submits a document for approval, they actually don't know where it is lying, with whom it is lying. So it becomes difficult as a person, as an employee, also to see what happened to my document that I submitted. So you can now see a banner on this page, which when you click on that banner, you can actually look at all the details. So you can look at the document of record, what you submitted. You can also track the approval flow, so you can know from whom it's pending, or in case if you want to withdraw the document of record for some reason, you can still do it from this banner. So you just click on this banner and you have these options that open up. Yeah, so this is one added advantage feature where, let's say there are certain document types which you want approvals, but they are not made as required for approval. So for example, you have an option called approval required value. When you create a document type, you can set it to yes or no. So until now, what happened was, even if I set the approval required as no, when I submit the document of record, we would receive a message saying we are submitting your changes for approvals. And so what would happen is that there would be a delay in the creation of the DOR. But here what we're doing, suppose you have certain document types which is not mandatorily required to be approved, you can set the approval required to no, which means that as soon as the document is submitted, you would not receive any message like this. It would not mean that it would go for auto approval. It would just mean that you won't see this message. The approval, it will still have an approval cycle if you have configured that. But the benefit here is that you don't see these unnecessary messages, and there is immediate creation of document of record. So there's no delay in the creation of documents. So with this, we come to the end of quick wins without any configurations. So let's focus on quick wins with minor configurations. Okay, so the action and action reason LOV has been enhanced at various levels here. So the first level that you see is a country specific action or action reason. So let's say you're doing business across multiple countries, and you have certain policies where you allow transfers between certain countries, but you do not allow between few as part of your career progression. So then you can say this particular action called transfer is eligible only for these countries, and it is eligible for this action reason again. So this action reason, so you can move somebody with the action reason of career progression only from UK. So these are certain examples where you can use actions and action reasons country specific. And this is role specific. So the same action and action reasons, but now you can control it through a role. So for example, let's say you have bifurcations or small teams within your HR, where certain team leads with recruitment, some of them lead with employee relation activities. So you want to have specific actions. So actions related to recruitment and action reasons related to recruitment to be shown to that HR specialist, while for the other, you just want to show that actions like transfer or promote because they deal more with employee relations. So you can basically try and control the access that the HR person also would have when you have a larger team. So this makes more sense because you don't tend to choose unnecessary actions and create data anomalies in the system. You give the right access to the right person. Yeah, this one is also a very wanted feature. So let's say you have an employee who's gone on a career break. So what happens is you might change the setup to saying that he's on career break. So you might have a flex field or something that tells this person is on a career break. But what happens is the impact of that should be maintained in the assignment status, because that's where all your processing happens. So all your payment processes or all other processes happens on the assignment status. So now what you can do, based on a particular action, you can say, I want this as to be the default assignment status. So let's say you say you put somebody for an action as a career break, you want to directly put the assignment status as suspended. So this would ensure that you don't have incorrect data, in the sense that you have put them on career break but you have not changed and they get paid in the payroll. So you can avoid such situations. Yeah, this one is a feature that helps us to reduce our setup efforts. So basically you can create one action reason and use it across multiple actions. So you can associate one action reason to multiple actions. And as we already saw, you can also control action reasons at countries level, roles level, and also a duration. So you can specify this action reason should be linked or associated with this action. For example, you can say that career progression has to be linked with a promotion action only for certain duration, and then you want to remove that action reason and you don't want to associate it with a action called promote. So that's something that you can configure now. Yeah, so this is, I think, a feature that all of us would start enabling as soon as you hear it. So whenever you have multiple assignments, there are until now, what we were not able to do was to send approvals based on their hierarchy of the current transactional assignment. So what do I mean is, until now, that whatever approval hierarchy you do was always through the primary assignments line manager. So even if you have different managers for different assignments, we were not able to route employment approvals. But now what you can do, so if you have two different line managers for two assignments, you can route. If you're making change in assignment 1, you will put it to line manager 1. And if there's a change in assignment 2, you want to route it to line manager 2. So that kind of control is there. So if you see here, you have an option when you enable the configuration, you have an option to say, do you want to use primary assignment hierarchy or current assignment hierarchy? So current assignment hierarchy would basically tell for what transaction, for what assignment this transaction was raised, that assignment's hierarchy would be followed. Yeah, the next one is configuration of checklist and task display properties. So this is more for user experience, the look and feel. That's the major benefit you have. So basically you can select, so you have different kinds of roles that you would have on a checklist, like a performer, or owner, or a line manager. So if you don't want to allow a performer to say that this task is not applicable for me, so you have assigned a task for him, but you don't want to allow the performer to say this is not a task that's applicable for me, you can hide it here. and this would be viewed only from owner and line manager. So actually, when you look at the tasklet, you only see complete button. You don't see a task not not mine, or task not applicable to me. So the business benefit is more of user experience, and you have more control of what to display and what not to display. So with that, we come up to an end of quick wins with defaults. Now what we would focus is quick wins that are opt-ins. At this point, I would like to stop and check, do we have any questions on the chat that we have to take?
Vishnupriya, we had one question, but that was with regards to the subject, non-subject part. But I would request all the attendees who are present right now to share your questions if there are in a question window. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will then move on to quick wins that are opt-ins. Yeah, so in the beginning of the session, I said there is something called as a mass legal employer change. So why do we have to have a mass legal employer change? Is basically when you are having acquisitions or you have separations, so and you want to move large number of people together from one legal employer to another, or it could be from different legal employers to a single legal employer. So this would be there is a guided process now which helps us to do this bulk transfer. With this bulk transfer also, if you also want to override certain assignment section values, for example, you want to say they could have been in a different payroll in the source LDG, but now you want to move them to a particular payroll. So then under override assignment values, you can give that value. But only caution of note is that whatever you give in override assignment values would be applicable for all the workers. So all the set of workers that you're doing a global transfer as part of that mass legal employer change, for all of them, this override values would be applicable. So this is actually a wonderful feature where, for organizations which are growing now and, there's a lot of acquisitions happening. So this is a very required feature. You don't have to use HDL, and you can control this from a functional perspective itself. Okay, this is for customers who are using Oracle Recruiting. So it's an added advantage here that you can now create requisitions from the position details page itself. So so if you identify a position and you want to create a requisition for this position, you can now see that there is a create requisition option, and you can start creating the job requisition. So this is more of ease of use for customers who have ORC. Profiles and job details. So basically every job that we do or that we have would have certain set of skills and qualifications, and there would be certain skills and qualifications which are applicable for multiple jobs. Now instead of every time adding them separately for every job, what you can do is to create a profile and attach that to the job details. So it's more easy that you just create the profiles and link them to the jobs. So this is more of ease of job, where you don't have to create the same profiles every time. But the only point of note here is that you have to be on enhanced talent profile, which I think most of our customers are already on. Okay, legal employer and action reason fields. So this is more again for ease of use, where you see all information in one page. So in the employment, manage employment section, now you can see under the employment history, you would be able to see what's the global transfer, if there was a global transfer, so what was the action. So you can also see this under future action section. So if there was a future action for this employee, under that section also you would be able to see any legal employer and action reason fields. So obviously the legal employer field would be displayed only if you had done a global transfer. So if there was an employee for whom there was no global transfer, you're not going to see the legal employer field. The next one is the setup pages. So for you all know, we can configure actions and action reasons and assignment status. So for all of this from update 20C, it is available only in the responsive page. So rather than calling it this as a quick win, we should ensure that this is more already opted in our system. So I think most of our customers are already on responsive pages, so this is not an issue. And responsive page, basically the benefit is that you would be able to use these pages in multiple devices. Okay, so what we would not be actually covering here in this session is the rest of the features, which means that this could probably be beneficial for you, but then it would take us some extra effort in terms of configuring or testing before we actually put it on live instance, which probably is difficult within the 2-week time frame, by when we have to finish our testing and opt in before your production instance gets upgraded. So that's why it's more called as the rest of the features, but I would strongly advise that you go over those features as well, and if you think there are something that you want to understand more, you can contact your support consultants on the project and or write questions emails to us. So what I would want to bring to your notice more is about the replaced or removed features. So because this is something that we have to note down. So in the mass legal employer change, the flow that I was talking about, which is very beneficial when you want to do acquisitions and separations, or you have group of employees because of a reorg for whom you want to move from one LE to the other, this particular flow is available only in the responsive pages from 20C. So before 20C, it is okay if you've been on Classic, but from 20C, it's important that we move to the responsive UI, because most of the features that's come up are only enabled on responsive UIs and not Classic UI. The access to change legal employer. So now the change legal employer is basically replaced with local and global transfer flow. So you should be now using responsive local and global transfer flow instead of using change legal employer. So this change legal employer would be ended or removed from update 20D. So I would strongly advise that we start using this new flow called local and global transfer. The next one is allocate checklists. Again, allocate checklists from 20D would be available only in the responsive UI. So from so people, if we have partly moved to responsive UI, please ensure your checklists are something that's already moved to responsive UI, so that you don't face a harsh stop when you're in 20D. Okay, should we take any questions that we have?
Thank you, Vishnupriya. There were a couple of questions which Sri has responded to. What I would like to do is I would like to take the last question, so that in case if you have some additional information on that, if you'd like to share with the team, that is something which we wanted to do. Just give me a moment.
Yes, please.
So is the mass legal change process only for moving employees already on your system, or is there a functionality for onboarding new customer not using Oracle recruitment?
Yeah, so mass legal employer change need not have Oracle recruitment. So you need not have Oracle recruitment to do this. So what you should be having is the core HR in Fusion, and employees already in core HR Fusion are the ones you would be able to do a mass global transfer.
Thank you, Vishnupriya. Hope that answers your question, Andy. The second question which we have is, can the additional features be introduced after the 2-week upgrade window? This is a question from Linda.
Yeah. So the additional features which we spoke as opt-ins are something for sure that you can opt after the 2-week period. But the ones that are default, whether we configure them or not, it's going to be there available for you for use. Certain features, as I said, should be configured to be able to use. Certain features you don't have to configure, it's already on there. So there is nothing that you have to do. For the rest of the features, again, there are bifurcations there for the rest of the features, where certain features are default and certain are opt-ins. So basically, any opt-in feature, you don't have the 2-week time frame. But any default feature, you have the 2-week, wherein you have to finish testing of those default features, so that you don't have issues in your businesses because of those new features.
Thank you, Vishnupriya. And Linda, I guess it answers your question. In case if you have a follow-up question on this, you may reply back on this. I appreciate it. Thank you. If there are any more questions, we can take it. We see one of the question from Prajakta Nayak. Allocate checklist. So what actions we need to take in perspective of responsive pages? I mean, do we need any more configuration for the existing checklist? That is the question, Vishnupriya.
Okay, so allocate checklist basically for moving it to responsive UI, you have to enable the responsive page. So for every task, you have individual profiles that you can enable. So you have to just enable that profile option. So Oracle has come up with a tool called responsive UI uptake tool, which you can actually run on your system and see how are there any pages that you have not moved, or what are the pages that you have moved to responsive. So this is a tool that would really help you to identify and ensure that you have moved all your pages, because there are so many profiles that you have to move that you might miss something. So just to ensure that you have not missed anything from moving to classic to responsive, please run this tool. Your support team members can actually help you to run that, and you can identify if there are any pages that are still not moved to responsive and take necessary actions.
Thank you, Vishnupriya. Hope that answer your question. Thank you. Appreciate. I think we are good for it. So you may continue asking your questions on the chat window. We are going to go to the next sections, but there is a Q&A round at the end where we are going to take rest of the questions. So feel free to send across the questions in your chat window.
Yeah, just a last note again.
Yeah,
sorry,
sure.
Vikas. I would again say there could be some features on the REST where you might want to just have a look at it and see if it is benefiting your business. It's not added as quick-win, as I earlier said, because of the fact that you might have to spend extra time, not just 2 weeks, to ensure that they're working as per your need. Thanks, Vikas.
Okay, thank you, Vishnupriya.
Thank you.
So as we talked about the first step, so that is more about our analysis of what is coming in. So what's the new features which are there in the latest release? How do we see that will help you to save your time or to help you in your day-to-day execution of the work what you are doing? So that is something which you wanted to highlight it. As I said before, there are 3 more steps which goes in when we talk about the update. So the next step would be planning between your team and the let's say business team, or the IT team and the business team, where we also get involved in the places where the services have been offered, followed by the test and the launch. In case if you are not opting for any of the services and you'd like to opt in for that, please speak to your project manager so that we can share what are the learnings which we can take forward for the subsequent phases. I just wanted to give you a glimpse of what's coming in. So from last couple of quarters, we are working with regards to what we are naming as Evosys next generation cloud managed services. This is not to just keep the lights on. So that is not about the reactive part. You ask the questions and we answer, or you create an issue and we resolve that issue. That is something which is already happening in many of the services what we do. But more importantly, we want to provide the business value which you can realize, and you can feel that this is something business value which is getting on the table. So that is something which you are aiming for. This has been facilitated by one of our key assets, which is value-based analytics. These are the analytics which are prepared on top of Oracle Cloud technology, which helps you to get a proactive services and know what is happening within your organization. Maybe it regards to the usage of the system, about the user training which could be required by the user. There are a lot of things which are value addition over there into this analytics. And we're also planning to have a separate webinar series similar to the quarterly updates. So stay tuned. There would be announcements and the messages which would be coming in. But if there is any questions and if there is any excitement which you'd like to take forward right away, you can always speak to your project manager. We are aligning to ITIL4, just for your reference. That is something which I wanted to highlight with this value-based delivery aspect. We want to drive the self-sufficiency and the innovation. So many of the updates which you are currently seeing, some of them are being done manually, like a testing part and other thing. We are in the background creating the RPA for the test scripts, so that the manual task, which is probably taking more time at this point of time, could be reduced going forward. So these are the value additions which we are bringing on the table. Last but not the least, we believe in a KPI driven support. So that is something which is going to be the core for our it. And there are 3 KPIs which we have capped for ourselves, and we want to make sure that we deliver best out of this KPI. The first one is about bringing the customer delight. So I'm sure with regards to all the operational service requests which you are raising in our portal, you are also marking that how was your experience on that. And as we speak, the global numbers which we are currently having, out of 5, we have been rated 4.6. So thank you for allowing us to understand how good our service is. And we want to make sure that we continue achieving this benchmark and go at a higher level to provide you the customer delight. The second point is about adherence to service level commitment. So we want to make sure that we are aligned with regards to the service level or the expectation what you have from us. So that is the second KPI which we have set for ourselves. And more or less, it's more about the value realization. So you should feel that the partnership which you are having with Evosys, that is something which is helping you to realize the value for the investment what has been made in Oracle Cloud. So this is the Evosys next generation cloud managed services, and there are a lot of things which we are revamping upon, and that would be coming to you as a phased manner. So that is something just wanted to give a glimpse of it. As a closing note, what happens after we end this particular session? So in the next 48 hours, you are going to get 3 items from us: the presentation along with the annexure. The annexure is about the test scripts which we are going to share with you. The second is, for whatsoever reason the people are not able to attend, or some of them had to, let's say, live in between, the sessions are getting recorded for your reference and the usage purpose, so that will be shared across to you. This is a new segment, so there is a feedback form which will be circulated to you once we complete the session. As a 2 type of feedback which we are taking. One is the quantitative, which will be taken within the session, and the qualitative one, how we can improve our services and how we can get better with regards to this segment. So that is something which will be coming to you, and I appreciate if you can fill out that particular feedback forms. In case if any additional services are required, or if you'd like to know more about the next generation cloud managed services, you can always speak to your project manager, or you can drop an email to business@evosysglobal.com for any such items which you think is required to be highlighted to us or requirement from your side. I'm sure most of you would be aware with regards to the next session. So we completed the human resource part, which is in July 16th, which is a global HR part. Tomorrow we are going to have a session for the finance team. So if there are some finance people who are present today, and if your colleagues would like to join for the finance session, feel free to forward the registration to them so that they can be part of the session which is tomorrow. And in next week, we are going to have the rest of the HR session, which is followed by talent management, workforce management, and the last one is about the payroll UK. So this is a segment which is upcoming, and I appreciate whosoever, either if you are the owner of this particular area, you may would like to join, if not register, or you may would like to share it with your colleagues so that we get most out of this initiative what we have taken. With this, Evosys is here to help you, and it's always best to clear your doubts in case if there are any. You can always contact your project manager. There is an evosysglobal.com website which is already there, so you can fill out the form and put over there. Or you can email to business@evosysglobal.com. So these are the ways where you can touch base on any of the areas which you would like to speak upon. With this, we will take some question and answers on this particular aspect with regards to the update. And in case if there are any additional questions which you might have with regards to the new initiative which you are taking, so that is something which you can talk about. So let's check the question. And in case if anyone would like to speak or have a conversation right now, you may raise your hand and we may unmute you so that you can also ask the questions within this forum. Any which ways we are okay with that. So if you may also raise your hand in case if you have some specific questions which we want to discuss in this forum. Are there any questions, Vishnupriya, which we should talk about in this forum?
Yeah, so I see there is a question from Andy. Please, could you recap on process for checking which responsive pages you have switched on? So you were from your support, you would have to raise an Oracle SR, where Oracle SR would run a tool which would capture all the flows, all the responsive profiles, whether they are enabled or not. So you may request your support consultant to do this on your behalf. They would raise an SR with Oracle, get the snapshot from Oracle. So the tool is available only with Oracle. They would run the tool and give us that information, post which we can decide how to move you from classic to responsive. So because responsive pages have a lot of changes from the UI level, so your team should be prepared to undergo that change. You might have to modify a few of your documents. So this has to be a planned activity.
Thank you, Vishnupriya. I guess Andy has got the response.
There was one more, but I think it's already answered. So when is this update effective from? So it is basically depending on which cycle you are in. So if you're in the first month or second month or third month. So for 20C, the first cycle would be from August. The second cycle is September. Third one would be the following month. So first week, which is first Saturday, is when the upgrade would happen on your non-prod instance. 2 weeks later, which is the third weekend, you would have it upgraded on your production instance.
There is another question, Vishnupriya. Can I confirm you can only mass change legal entity or LE if the employees are already in the HCM system? This is the question from Julie.
Yes, Julie, as per whatever notes we have currently from the readiness documents, it means that you can only move people who are in HCM, Fusion HCM. You can use them in transferring them using mass legal employer change.
Thank you, Vishnupriya. Yeah. Is there any change in OTBI or OBI in report design point of view? This is a question from Mandy.
Yes, so there are certain changes from OTBI. There is not from anything that I've noticed in OBI. In OTBI, for every module, basically, there are a lot of new subject areas that's come up, or new fields that are added, which you can incorporate in your existing reports. So you can find these details on the readiness document that's available in Oracle Customer Connect, or we can share those documents with you as well.
Yeah, thank you. I guess we answered. If there are any questions you can put forward. What I would like to do right now is, we got one poll question for you just to understand about how this session went. So I appreciate if you can provide your response. Did you find this particular webinar which we conducted today useful? And this is something which you would like to go forward for the subsequent part. Select yes if you liked it. And you are welcome to select no in case if we are not able to provide right value, or if you feel there are some specific area which you did not get, which you were expecting over here. So it's an anonymous response. We don't track who is responding to what. So it's just about the percentage and the total votings which we see from the attendees who are present today. More than 50% have responded to it. We see. I will wait till 70% at least for the people to vote it, and that would be good. So some of them are having no response over here, and thank you for letting us know that there are certain improvement areas which we can put upon. So there would be a qualitative feedback form which will be shared to you. Either you can fill up that form, or you can talk with your project manager just to provide your feedback in person in case if there are some specific areas which you would like us to cover. That is something which are always looking forward to, let's say, work upon. I'll wait for one more response. I can see 69%. I would like to make it 70% vote at least. Yeah. Thank you. I will share the results for all of them. So 98% of the team who is present today has found that this webinar is useful, and appreciate and thank you for that. And a bigger thank you for the people who have responded 2% as a no. We would like to know more about it so that we can make it better and we can provide better value to you with regards to the option which you are referring to. The last question from our side, this is more about just to understand where are we with regards to, let's say, a rating scale with regards to 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest. So if you did not find it well, then you can put 1. If you find the best thing which happened, let's say today, and you were expecting that questions have been answered, you may opt for 5. And depending upon the scale, depending upon your viewpoint, you may please watch this response. Better the response, better the announcement which you can do. This is the initiation which we have taken to make sure that we are able to provide right value and let's say at the right time to you. So that is something which I'm looking forward to do further also. So any feedback is good, bad, ugly, whatever it may be, but yeah, that will help us to improve our services. Thank you. We can see more than 70% of the responses are being carried. I'd like to share the response. So we can see around 70% people are feeling, which are, let's say, it was good and we are able to fulfill the expectation. Thank you. And we see around 19% which are below the average, which we counted from our side, which is 3 to 1. So that is something which will make sure we improve upon and provide better service. I will hide this part. We'll take the final questions if there are any, or you may want to raise your hand. We got a few minutes left, which you can make use of. So if there are any specific questions, or if you'd like to have any conversation with our team, you may want to raise your hand or put your questions into a question chat box.
I guess, Vikas, we have a question.
Yeah, appreciate
can you review the role-specific action axis, please? So the role-specific action and action reasons are something that you could enable and configure to control the access that you can give to your HR teammates. So let's say you have a team who does only promotions and transfers and terminations, but you have another team member who actually does manager changes and other assignment changes. So you can, based on the role of that particular person, so both of them could be HR specialists, but then they would have some data specific information. So maybe you should have HR specialist recruitment and HR specialist employee relations, so that you differentiate their roles in the system, and then you would be able to have actions and action reasons being controlled by the roles that they have. So for somebody who's got HR recruitment, they would not see terminations, they would not see action for promotion or any other stuff like that. But for somebody who's got recruitment, maybe they would want to change the manager, so they would have an access to action called change manager. So this is an example. I hope that clarifies.
Thank you, Vishnupriya. Okay. I guess we are left with no questions, Annie. You are more than open to speak to your project manager if there are any questions, and the updates which are going to be shared across you in next 48 hours, it will be in your email in next 48 hours. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. With this, we are going to close our inaugural session for the quarterly updates 20C. And whosoever has registered for the rest of the series are welcome to join in, and we will see you over there. Thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.